Hello and welcome from Budapest. This is Hungary Reports from Public Media M1 with the latest news from Hungary and the Carpathian Basin in English. I'm Árpád Szőci. Great that you can join us. Hungary will not allow a single migrant into the country. That's what Hungary's Foreign Affairs and Trade Minister said in Belgrade, commenting on the situation at the Greek-Turkish border, where thousands of Syrian refugees are trying to leave Turkey and enter the European Union. Híradó said that Hungary will defend its borders under all circumstances, just like it did in 2015 when hundreds of thousands demanded entry. He also said that if Serbia needs help in defending its border, then Hungary will step in. The Hungarian foreign minister also consulted with his Greek counterpart on the phone about the developing situation in Greece.
We know exactly what it's like when there's an organized attack on the borders. We know very well what it's like when policemen and soldiers who protect the borders are being attacked. And we certainly know what it's like when during all of this, liberal media make up fake news. Therefore, I assured the Greek colleagues of how aware we are of the trials they are subjected to right now. I told them that we protected ourselves in 2015 and encouraged them to do the same.
The coronavirus now affects 18 countries in Europe. That's 2/3 of European Union member states. But so far, no one has tested positive in Hungary. Those who have been put into quarantine in the country on suspicion of having been exposed to the COVID-19 virus exhibit no symptoms. Hungary's chief medical examiner says that if someone did come from an affected area and has symptoms, that person should not go to a doctor's office, but instead should first call their physician. Altogether, there have been more than 90,000 cases around the world, and more than 3,080 people have died.
A possible initial diagnosis of coronavirus does not require physical contact between doctor and patient. This is why family physicians have put into place a new procedure. The patient calls their family doctor, on-call services, or the green number provided by the National Public Health Center, where they can get informed about the next steps. If the patient is suspected of having the virus based on a checklist, then the family doctors involved will refrain from treating the patients on location. Basically, the Hungarian National Ambulance Service will call a separate phone line reserved for such cases. The patient will then be transported to the Infectology's Division Center by a guarded patient transport. Szabolcs Békási said. The National Chief Medical Officer said that the goal of these new procedures is the protection of those who work in healthcare. It also minimizes the chance of further infection and transmission of the virus if and when it does arise. And starting Wednesday, a website on information related to the coronavirus will go live.
Hungarian banking has reached a new milestone. Starting now, when you make a payment online, the transaction occurs immediately instead of the usual 1 or 2 day wait. This applies to all domestic transactions of up to almost 30,000 euros anytime, day or night. That means that if you transfer funds, the recipient receives them in seconds. It's the only such national instant payment system in the world, and already on its first day of operation, it proved to be quite popular.
From Monday on in Hungary, bank transfers under 10 million forints, or almost 30,000 euros, are credited within 5 seconds on every day of the year, 24 hours a day. And by Monday afternoon, more than 200,000 transfers took place successfully, the greater portion of which were achieved in 1 second. The Central Bank of Hungary representative announced. Attention was also drawn to the fact that all banks in the country have joined this instant payment system. In Hungary, on the first day, it jumped to the lead, to the international spheres where this instant payment system is already used. Right away, 45 to 50% of all transfers today use this instant payment system. Lajos Barta said. The vice president of the Central Bank of Hungary anticipates that this instant payment system will develop the economy and limit the use of cash. This will change the turnover rate of money. Our money will turn over faster. This is what matters. It fuels the economy. The most important factor is that if the turnover rate of money is faster, it affects the economy in a positive way. Mihály Patai said. According to the Central Bank of Hungary, in 5 years, electronic payment will be available in all circumstances.
A Hungarian school program on financial matters called Money Week has started in Hungary. Up to 200,000 high school students can watch lectures and attend classes on financial matters that should help them become more money savvy, understand investments better, and the dangers of debt, as well as how to start up a business. Students can also take part in various competitions as part of Money Week. The Hungarian initiative is part of the global Money Week series of events around the world. The government says that nursery schools are now more in demand the past few years than ever before. One of the main pillars of the government's Family Protection Action Plan is to increase the number of nursery school places. A tender for ideas on how to do that had been issued, and the winners were announced on Monday.
We were able to do a lot in terms of security by increasing the number of places available at nurseries to increase funding. Also by recognizing that the situation and recognition of nursery workers has improved, not just morally but financially the past few years. The aim of this idea contest was to build safe nurseries in Hungary, safe and aesthetic nurseries that are also modern.
Budapest police in the Hungarian capital were on high alert for pedestrians not observing the rules of the road. Those caught were given a verbal reprimand for now. The stepped-up police presence is because of the increased number of pedestrians being hit by cars the past few weeks. And police say not all those accidents were the fault of drivers. For example, too many pedestrians aren't paying attention because they're talking on their cell phones while crossing the street. You may find the images we're about to show disturbing.
Pedestrians are glued to their cell phones while crossing the street without looking around, or crossing the street despite a street signal telling them not to. All this on Monday morning at one of Budapest's busiest downtown intersections. Most of the time, traffic violators were only given a reprimand by police, but in extreme cases they can initiate proceedings. During the operation, they had to intercede 40 times every 2 hours. There will be pedestrian checkpoints at many other heavy traffic areas in Budapest. According to Budapest police, this is necessary, for example, because of the 9 traffic fatalities that happened in Budapest since January, which in 6 cases those responsible were clearly the pedestrians. The Hungarian police are carrying out these monitoring actions exclusively for road safety. This footage was recorded by an eyewitness back in the middle of February in Kőbányai Road. A 20-year-old man tried to pass the rails without looking around. The tram from the left coming with a high speed had no chance to stop. He was ran over by a truck after being hit by the tram. He died at the scene. A surveillance camera recorded graphic images in the middle of February too in the 13th district. The woman holding an umbrella was waiting on the sidewalk for a while. Then she suddenly started walking across the street even though the lights were still red. Likely the fact that she was on her phone distracted her attention too. A car hit the woman, sending her flying for meters. She died instantly. An average of 2,500 people are hit by vehicles on domestic routes, with 150 of those encounters being deadly. Most of the time, pedestrians do not cross on crossing areas or step onto the road on a red light. And more accidents happen due to being on the phone, listening to music, or texting.
If you missed out on the comet that streaked across the Hungarian sky a few days ago, you can maybe make up for it by visiting the observatory and star park in Zselic in southern Hungary. There are daily tours there. You get to peruse the sky and even the sun and much, much more. And if you're more in the gastronomic mood, may we suggest heading to check out the gastronomic experience at Radpuszta on the southern side of Lake Balaton. There you can also go horseback riding and carriage riding to help build up your appetite. And then there's a local wine cellar where you can choose from among fine wines. In fact, you can even do a virtual tour of Hungary's wine regions there. And that's all for now, but don't forget, you can catch Hungary Reports live every night around 11:20 p.m. Central European Time, and in repeats and online as well. Please stick around now, if you can, for our shows in German, Russian, and Chinese. Thanks very much for watching, and minden jót!